The personal sigil space is an artistic and numerical computing device. I'm creating this as a wearable item with an electronic spatial counterpart, such as the internet. The numerical sigil began with a low shoe magic square over 3,000 years ago that arrived upon the back of the divine turtle. The low shoe thus introduced numbers to the Chinese and the relation of those numbers to the universe as applied in the I Ching. The I Ching, or Book of Changes, was discovered to have a synchronistic relationship with reality by Carl Jung. It represents a field of possible events based on a randomized input, be it coins or yarrow stocks. The permutations, however, are fixed and can be read. Work done at the RPI, or Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, has recently discovered a fractal mathematical relationship in the structure of African villages. Looked at from above, the pattern repeats itself as would a fractal. The pattern of that village's unique identity is thus repeated infinitely. A fractal has an n-tier Riemann object. At the same time, theoretical string physicists have discovered error-correcting or Hamming codes embedded in the mathematics of supersymmetry string theory, or SUSY, which takes place in 10 dimensions. These are similar patterns to Ghanaian Akindra symbols, which convey simple messages. This particular symbol conveys the message, "What you do not know can be obtained by learning." The mathematical genius Riemann discovered how 3- or 4-dimensional creatures would interact with 2-dimensional creatures, or vice versa, in a number of mathematical theorems. Transport from one dimension to another is highly limited by our inherent set of perceptions. Artists have sought to incorporate other dimensions based on these discoveries, such as the incorporation of time via cubism in the famous painting Dude Descending the Staircase. Instead of a moment frozen in time, multiple time slices are present all at once. This was initially disconcerting for viewers accustomed to a certain frame. Later, the surrealists would also play at incorporating time elements, making them more liquid, such as bellies and melting clocks. This indicated a certain degree of refrangibility, or incorporating different vectors of how light behaved, but also other elements, scientific elements of the constant nature of light, that was not altered as determined by Newton's experiments with prisms. While some elements of color are subjective, there is a fixed scientific nature of color that is inherent in our universe and can be used to understand or to compute it. Moving from a physical nature to cyberspace is not easy. Not everything translates from your traditional to your cyberspace identity. This can be done in a protected way with a sigil which carries your identity preferences. Therefore, it is important to have an artistic definition that your personal space extends at the same time that is scientific to extend your identity. Some of these ideas are currently being explored as a project at Tyler School of Art, Philadelphia, and Space Interventions.
Well, your voice all belong to us. What you say?